Hello, thank you for being in a new video. This time we have an unboxing of the Huawei MatePad Airpaper Matte Edition. Let's get started. This is a new proposal from Huawei in a different format that so far they had not handled, with the paper matte finish that Huawei has handled in several models of tablets. Previously, I already showed you the Huawei MatePad 11 and MatePad 11.5 in its paper matte edition. So now it's the MatePad Air's turn. In this case, the screen size is 11.5 inches, but you will see that the proportion is different. The truth is that it's very simple. There's nothing new about it. In fact, there's not even an easy way to peel this protective plastic off the box, unlike other manufacturers who have a little bit easier packaging. So, let's open this box to find out what's inside. In this case, being a review unit, it comes with a language a little unknown to me, but don't worry. When it arrives officially to your country, it will have all the letters in your language so you can understand without any problem. But from what I managed to interpret, the screen has 144 Hz in its refresh rate. It comes with support for M Pencil, and it also comes with the new Huawei Note app, and you can attach the Huawei magnetic keyboard to it. So let's remove this protective mat so that we can fully see the screen. As I've shown you in other videos, this Huawei paper matte finish is amazing because it manages to avoid reflections in an amazing way. Let me bring another tablet so you can see the difference. Watch, I brought a Galaxy Tab and notice the difference in the reflections. It's really amazing how Huawei manages to avoid these reflections, to have excellent viewing in areas where there's a lot of lighting behind you. So, this is really one of its strongest points, and notice how on the back we will find a white color finish. Very nice. It's very rare to see tablets in this color. Almost all of them come in silver color, and that gives a very boring touch to the whole tablet market. So, Huawei comes somehow to refresh this market, giving this nice finish for the back cover of this tablet. Also, it's not completely smooth. Although I don't know if you can see through the camera, but it feels a little textured, which in turn prevents reflections just like the front cover. So we have a matte design both back and front. On the left side we find the on-off button and speakers, as well as on the other side where we also have the USB-C port. At the top are placed 3 microphones plus the volume buttons, and at the bottom are the 3 pins that will serve to connect the Huawei magnetic keyboard very easily. Let's get this tablet powered up while we see what else comes in its box. Include the microfiber to easily clean the screen because it can stain a little more. As well as it avoids very well the reflections, notice that later it gets to stain a little easily with your fingers. And with this microfiber, the truth is that just once you clean the screen, it is perfectly fine. Let's do the test so that you can verify it yourself. Look, there's a little bit of dirt on the screen and we pass this on. And well, I exaggerated when I said that, with just one wipe, but the truth is that it's not complicated at all to get the screen perfectly clean. If this product was from Apple, this product would be sold separately at a very high price. Let's see what else comes here in the box. We have the charging adapter, which is supercharged 40 watts, so it comes very nice for the tablet to charge with a lot of speed. And on the other side, we're going to have in this part just quick information, documentation, and the charging cable, which as you'll notice is USB-A to USB-C with a purple finish, so you can always identify it easily, because if you use a cable with a smaller gauge, it is likely that you will not be able to enjoy the faster charging. As you may notice, the M Pencil is not included in the box, so you would have to buy it separately, but fortunately it is compatible with this tablet. In a moment I will bring an M Pencil for testing. For now, just let me finish the initial setup of this tablet and get back to you. I have the tablet ready, but first let me tell you what price it is in Mexico. Right now it is at 12,499, and they include the second generation Huawei M Pencil. Although in this case, because it is a review unit, it was not included in the box, but I insist that here I have one available for you to see how easy it is, because in this model it sticks to the top, and just like that you will connect and charge it. unlike other models where you need to connect the USB accessory to be able to charge it and link it. So in this model, the connection is much simpler. And as you can see, when you place the stylus on top, it's going to quickly display the current battery status. Next, let me tell you with speed the main specifications of this tablet. It weighs approximately 508 grams and is 6.4 millimeters thick. In fact, the M Pencil is a little bit thicker than the tablet, and with that you realize how thin it becomes. The screen had already anticipated you that it has 11.5 inches in its diagonal, and we are talking about an IPS panel that has a resolution of 2800 by 1840 pixels. Its proportion is a little higher than normal because generally Huawei tablets are much wider. In this case, it does not look like a square tablet, but it is a little less rectangular than its sisters. The screen also offers us 144 Hz in its refresh rate, although it is capable of adapting between 30 and 144. So it's able to show you very nicely the movements, transitions throughout the operating system, and of course, while the content is static, it's also able to save enough battery life. Manually, you could also reduce the refresh rate to leave it in the standard mode fixed at 60 Hz. The front camera will be 8 megapixels with f-aperture 2.2, and we have in this case fixed focus. As you can realize, it is a camera with a good range. What I like most about this camera is undoubtedly its width. If you have your arms stretched out, you have a very good viewing angle, and even with the arms reduced, you will have very good space for video calls, which is what you will mainly use this camera for. On the back, we have another camera, which is a 13 megapixel camera with f1.8 aperture. And in this case, it does have autofocus, so you can focus on small objects or objects that are far away as well. And as you know, I usually use the camera on the tablets just to scan a document because I don't think it's that advisable to take artistic pictures with a tablet. And as you notice, in this case, the modes appear in the lower right corner, and it does have a document mode specifically to automatically detect the edges of the sheet and be able to crop your document. In some cases, it may not do it as accurately, so for that you can click on the document icon and adjust the crop again and then apply the changes. If you want, you can send it to print as a PDF so you can have the document as a separate file. And another thing you can probably use this rear camera for is to scan QR codes, although for that you need to open the AI lens application that is on the left side, and through this application you will be able to scan these codes. I wish you could do it from the main camera interface, but it's just an extra step for you to perform this action. And this rear camera has the ability to record video even in case you deem it necessary, although I insist that a tablet generally does not use the rear camera that much. The battery is 8,300 milliamps and comes with support for 40-watt charging, which I showed you a moment ago. I think we are in front of a very good battery, although later in the review I will show how it performs. I really have good expectations. In terms of connectivity, it supports Wi-Fi 6 networks, and watch out for its USB port because it is not the basic USB 2.0 that many tablets on the market integrate, but in this case it does have USB 3.2 of first generation for a good data transfer. Speed. Now let's do a little test with the pen through the Huawei Notes application, because in this application if you can synchronize your notes between your different devices. In this case it's getting an update, so let's wait. And here we have the app for you to see how the stylus can write, not only when there's nothing else touching the screen, but you can also perfectly rest your whole hand on top of the screen and you can still write without any problem, because the tablet is able to differentiate perfectly well if you're writing with the stylus. In fact, there is a button on the interface that allows you to select how you want it to behave with your finger. If you disable this button, you are going to be able to paint with your finger as well. But if this button is enabled, you can slide between your sheets with your finger and write with the stylus. So it's actually very easy behavior that we have here. Remember also that it has a gesture with which you can give it 2 taps to change action, although in this case it should switch between the pencil and the eraser. But the truth is that the gesture in many occasions is difficult to activate, unlike Samsung's S Pen that brings a physical button. So notice how in this case I couldn't enable it no matter how much I tapped the stylus. There it is, finally changed. So it can be a little bit complex to switch, and it's going to be a lot easier than tapping on the screen to switch between these modes. Hopefully soon Huawei will integrate a button on its stylus to make this action much easier. Within the brushes, we have several options available with different pencil styles. In addition, we can change the thickness, we can also change its transparency, and of course we can also change its sensitivity to pressure and the color that we will have available. Remember that the minus this pencil on top of the screen. So it's really a super good experience. And after you've made a few strokes on top of this screen, notice how it hasn't smudged practically at all. Although if you have a little bit more sweat on your fingers, it might get smudged more easily. And before we finish, remember that this is a tablet that comes without Google services, so everything you will have to use through external applications or through the web browser. Of course, we have App Gallery available to explore more content, and in fact, through Gbox, we could already install some Google apps also directly from the App Gallery, as long as we install Gbox first. Notice how Google Photos, YouTube Music, Gmail, Google Drive, Google Maps also appear. Virtually all Google apps appear unofficially within the App Gallery, so their installation should not be complex. So I think that in terms of availability of applications is no longer a weak point on the part of Huawei, although obviously it is not going to be the same experience, and it is likely that some applications will not work 100% optimized for this device, or even possible that the installation of some applications may also become more complex. For example, in this case, I'm going to install the benchmark that we always use to measure the power of the devices in the unboxing, but for that I had to use Petal Search, and in this case I go to the category of applications so that the listing appears, and I'm going to put it to install. But notice how it directs me to a web page, and from here I have to download the installer. So for people who may not feel so experienced in this world, it may be a little more complex, the installation of applications, but for more experienced users, it is really not complex at all. You just have to be careful where to download the application so that malware does not sneak in. I already installed this benchmark, so let's test the performance that this tablet has. But first, let me mention what its processor is. We're talking about the Snapdragon 888, a high-end processor, albeit from years past, but I think for the price we could be looking at a good alternative. In addition, it comes with 256 gigabytes of storage and 12 gigabytes of RAM, so with these specifications it should run with good speed, but let's wait for the result of this test. And here are the results. In single core we have 1,277 points, and in multi-core 3,745. I think it is a good processor, obviously not at the level of the most recent high-end processors, but for being a high-end processor, despite being of past years, I think it will have very good power. For the moment, let's leave this video up to here. Remember that later I will make an extensive video review where you will be able to know more details about this tablet. For the moment, this has been all. If you liked the video, you know you can let us know, and we'll see you next time.